Hello everyone, MikeMoneyGMR here, and welcome to Prison Architect. This game has changed a lot since the last time I played, and I'm gonna go ahead and do something real quick here. I'm gonna turn down this volume just a little bit more while we're on this menu here. There we go. So, as you can tell, when you start a new prison, a lot of things are different than they used to be. Like, it used to be there was no, like, gender changing. Like, I did do a video on the gender changing thing, I think, one time. I don't remember if I ever posted it. But now, there's, like, a lot more wardens to choose from. There's a lot, like, more in-depth stuff that you can do with the two different prisons types. You can now choose what dog you want, which is kind of cool, but I'm gonna stick with the classic. And now there's a lot more options for what you can do and what you can't do. Like, you can now generate forces, you can generate like buildings. I've tried generating the buildings to see what that does, and it kind of puts random, as you could tell, puts random buildings on your prison, right? But more often than not, they don't work like how they should, you know? It seems, at least in my opinion. So I don't know if it's something that is just kind of there for you to try, or something that, like, you know, just can put for fun if you want to add extra challenge or not. Lakes, of course, they're still experimental, which is kind of funny because, like, they've been around for a while, but I've never tried it, and I've heard that people say that they're annoying to deal with, so I've never messed with them too much. Failure conditions and gangs and stuff like that, that's always been around, but it's fun to have them still. Weather and temperature, obviously, if it's been a long time since you played this game, you may not remember this. Weather and temperature came into, like it just came in one day, and I was just like, oh, that sounds cool. But it actually is really hard because, like, there's so much that has to go into it, so, like, I don't like messing with that too much. This is kind of fun, though, escape plans and stuff. I've never tried it, but, you know, it's just a fun little thing. But I thought I would kind of, you know, show off some of the new things that have happened with this game, to kind of show you what has changed since the last time I've played. So, one of the major things that really has changed is it does feel like a lot of these grants are a lot easier to complete. Like, they haven't really changed any of the, for lack of for lack of a better word, like, they haven't really changed, like, what you have to do them, but what they've done is they've kind of gone in and they've said, like they've kind of helped explain certain challenges a bit more. And I'm sorry if I cough and stuff, or I have, like, little pauses, because I have a little, like, allergies. Like, my allergies are going a little crazy right now, obviously, and it's kind of annoying, so I keep coughing and stuff because of that. But anyway, it does just feel like a lot of these are a lot easier than they used to be, you know? And it does feel like when you build stuff, it feels like it's a lot easier to understand, because one thing they actually added recently is you can go into like, you can build things using plans, right? And then click this button here, and what will happen is any plans that you've drawn out, they'll just start building it as if it was actually something you laid down. But I've noticed with this that it's still kind of buggy. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Just to me, it seems kind of buggy because there's times where, like, you will tell them to build foundation and they won't. Because, when you put down planning, it wants you to do it like this now. And that's a room. But the problem is, like, say you want to do it like this instead, or, like, say you want to do something strange like this here. And then you finish it up, you notice that it doesn't fill in like it does normally. And so if you tried to build this plan here, you would actually have to go through and put foundation in all these different areas because it would just build the walls and nothing else. So, yeah, that's another thing to keep in mind. I like that feature, though. That's a nice little feature that they added, and I applaud them for that. I'm actually very impressed with what they've done with this planning. Now, Quick Build has actually been upgraded a lot. It used to be that, when you would do, actually, Quick Build used to not even be a thing. Like, there was this ability to, like, clone stuff, but, like, you used to not be able to just build stuff. Like, like, you can have it build showers for you, which is kind of neat. You can have it build a canteen, like, have an idea what a canteen should look like, kitchen. But this is interesting because as you look, the way it wants to build a kitchen is it wants to build it with a regular door. And if you've played Prison Architect before, you know that your kitchen is a good place for your prisoners to find contraband a lot. And so for them to build it like this is kind of interesting. And also another thing to note, nothing in this plan is hooked up. Like, you have to still put the wires and all that. I think it says somewhere in the, like, wording for you. And you can always go in here and change this a little bit if you want. Like, I could build this right now, for example, right? Like, I could just put this, say, let's put it like right here, right? And then have them build it, of course, right? When they get here, which they're right there. So once they get here, we'll have them build that. And I'll show you like what you would do next. Here, let me close this menu here. Fast forward this a little bit. And then, of course, you would just click on the door, say dismantle, and put in your own door. So that way you have a door that you like better because, like, your prisoners have a harder time getting in there. Obviously. Yep. See, once they get everything built in, the planning goes away, and you have everything set up. So, you notice, though, that if you do it that way, your costs kind of go up a lot more because say you only wanted one capacitor Well, you now have 3 because that's what the plan does. And there's no way to change the plan. Like, you can't go into the plan before you build it, that I've found at least, and be like, hey, I want to change it where it has less capacitors or anything. I haven't seen any way to do that. So it's kind of a fun little idea, and I like what they did with it. But I do find myself sometimes being like, but why did they decide to go with this? Like it just feels kind of silly, with how like the game used to be. Like you had to just build everything yourself, so you had to kind of think of it. And if you made a mistake, well, you were screwed, right? Basically. And so it's just like, to me it's kind of funny, but at the same time I get it. I actually see why they did it, because people were complaining about wanting an easier way to do a lot of this stuff. Like like the way I picture it happening is that people came out and were saying, "Oh man, what would be easier for this game is, instead of having to like know exactly how to build a room, you just do it for me." And I'm like, okay, I get that. I do. I can understand why you would do that. But at the same time, it just seems kind of silly, to say the least. Like, sometimes I'll use these if ever I want to remind myself, like, oh yeah, what's a kitchen need to be in size? Or, what a canteen needs to be in size? Or, like, what's a good idea for, like, a common room? Now, this is interesting. You remember how one of the, like, policies or whatever is to have a room where your prisoners can meet to get like rehabilitation, right? They actually build the common room for that purpose. They don't build it in the purpose of actually giving your prisoners a place to relax. They actually build it as if you're building, well, a classroom. Which, if you have education, I could show you that too. But that's pretty much all there is to show there. The utility map is pretty much the same as it was before. I mean, the only thing that I've noticed that's slightly different is I think these pipe valves are slightly different compared to what I've seen before. Or if they're not, I just don't remember how it worked. And, or I never used it before. And, everything else in here is pretty much the same as it was. I remember power switches being there, but I don't remember if I've ever used them or if I've ever seen anybody use them for anything. Objects, there's a lot of new objects that were around. Like now there's these shower pillars. They're actually very useful. Like, I can honestly say without a shadow of a doubt that the the whole thing with having that be an option is actually really good. Because it does feel like you really do need that. For example, okay, I'm gonna do something like this, and this is gonna be like my reception area. I actually have learned why planning is useful, and I'm gonna just build something real quick here and be right back. Okay, I'm back. Here's something I've come up with a little bit. So this right here, this area where my cursor is right now, is like a holding cell is what I would have it be, right? And you could do like ways of showing that, but obviously I don't have the way of doing that right now that I can think of. But like you could just put like a you just put like a giant H in there or something to remind yourself. Even though I know I just built it with walls, so I can remind myself. So that's going to be the holding cell. This right here, I don't know what I want to do with this right now. This is supposed to be like a reception area, is what I'm thinking, because that's where I like to have, like, I like to build that ever since I've learned that you kind of need that. Now, I could make this a lot smaller. Like, I could shrink it down to about like that, you know. Well, that's not really much of a difference, is it? Kind of like this. Why does that just not feel much smaller? There you go, like that. And that could actually work for a reception area, and I could just kind of go like this perhaps, because you don't really need much for a reception area. And if you want to make the doors, you just kind of go in here and you go, and there you go. That'll be a door if you were to build this whole area. And the reason why I kind of want this to be a little bit smaller is so I can make a hallway out of this instead of have this be an open room. And so what I could do instead is get rid of all of this here, because that was too big of a thing here. Kind of do something like, I just don't like this being that big though. I mean, like this 3x3 here is good, but then I kind of want to shrink this down to 2, you know, like that, so that it's like a hallway. And then we could do something where like the holding cell, like here, I use this as my thing here. I was like, well, we could do something like this then, like connect this to about right here. But that just feels kind of weird for a holding cell. Look, the bathrooms are completely open. I don't like doing that. And I know like people are like, you know, they're prisoners, who cares? But I kind of like to, you know, go out of my way a little bit and be like, well, let's just kind of do something more along the lines of, you know, that seems kind of small, but like we could do something like this, have little walls for the toilets like right here, and then like we could go, there we go. We could put little doors like that for the toilets, you know, if we wanted to. And then put like the benches around the walls here. Now, you can put beds in here, but I've never really thought to do that since this is kind of just supposed to be like a temporary area until you build cells. And since we have enough money right now anyway, I would say that we're probably not going to really worry about this holding cell too much. We're just kind of, you know, messing with it a little bit for the sake of messing around. Close toilets. Yeah, just toilet and bench. That's all it really needs, right? Okay, so a good idea to do then would be to go like that, this, and then we can just kind of go that, that. And I think once you do that, you can kind of come in here and take your concrete walls for your little area here and kind of go like that. Right? Or did that not do anything? Yeah, I didn't do anything. Because it wants to build the foundation first. Let's just see what they do first, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So now we just need Another jail door right there. And if you notice, they changed the door's location to be with the walls. I think at first that kind of threw me off because I was so used to it being with the objects. But I actually kind of like that. And I like how they also put the flooring all in one single thing, you know, as well, which is kind of nice. Put some concrete tiles there to get to the staff room so we can help out our peoples. I kind of like the mosaic floor for many of this stuff here. I just think it fits really well. Okay, so let's go ahead and... Oh yeah, there's a new thing with benches too. They now have like teeny tiny ones, which is kind of nice, and then the regular, you know, 4 ones, which I think I am going to use the small ones because I thought they were 3 squares, but they're not. Just kind of do that. And then we'll get rid of that. Oh yeah, one thing you probably saw that was kind of interesting is they now have signs too for stuff you can put on it. I've heard that these are supposed to help prisoners in a way, like know where to go and stuff like that. For example, like say you want to dedicate an area to be a toilet and only a toilet. You can do that and they will actually use that for that specific reason, which is kind of nice but kind of silly in my opinion to me, because I'm just like, oh, okay. I think this will be okay if we do it like this. I always like wonder if they're gonna dig out through the pipes, because you know they will try. But as long as you use like small pipes, they don't usually do it that bad. So we can do it like that. Okay, so I'm gonna do some more building and I'll be right back. There we go. Now we got a reception area. Oh, sorry, I am back. Yeah, we got our reception area. Wanted to just build that real quick. Now, real quick, I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to do next. So we got our holding cell now. Let's go ahead and mark that so we can get that check listed. Oh, yeah. There we go. Okay, so this was another problem I wanted to go over here. I might have to save it for the next episode though, even though I know I haven't accomplished much. But unless I can just cut out a whole lot of me doing nothing. But one thing that's interesting is there's now this room requirement, and it says there are no canteens accessible by this cell. So this used to be a problem. If you tried to build, say, a kitchen and a canteen near this, it will automatically do it, right? But say you decided to add another cell later on, that one may actually get this room requirement problem because of where it's located in the prison. Like if you put a door, like, okay, let's do this in planning so that I can kind of explain this a little bit better. So say you put doors here, right? If you put doors here, all of a sudden this area can only go to the canteen that's within this area. And to tell where the area is, is where another room will be. Like, so if any room, which, right now, this counts as a room right here. This is a room, obviously, this is a room because there's doors attached to it. And so if you had this like huge hallway here, for example, anything that's attached to this hallway will be considered a room, obviously. And so say like I made the canteen like right here for whatever reason without adding walls or a door, which it won't let you do. But if I did that, like this whole area here would suddenly become its own thing, and everything in this area would apply to it because it has no walls, which is good and bad depending on what you want. So yeah, we're going to remove that for now and remove all of this as well here. There we go, just like that. So our next course of action is to build a shower. Now we can do multiple things for this. We could just go ahead and attach the shower to this, like, well, not with that, but, with like this instead, right? Like we could build a pretty big shower like that. Let me just do this for my OCD, which I don't have. And then we could just put doors, right here. Or not. We could just cut it open and say that it's not a door, but if we put doors, it actually makes it easier. And then we can put drains like right here, and right here. And then we can put like the shower pillars right here, here, and here, for example. And then we have like the walls for showers as well. And so we would have all these showers, but it's actually a little bit better if you put it like 2 blocks away from the wall, which right now with how big this room is, well, tiny is the correct word for it, there's not really much of an option for putting shower pillars 2 away from the wall, except for like that, right? Because like I try to keep the prisoners away from each other as much as possible because that kind of helps with fights, preventing fights, but it would work just fine like this, really. So let's go ahead and build this, which means you kind of, I think you want to do it like that. Come in here, grab the doors. Yeah, just as I expected, that caused a problem. So let's fix that real quick here. Just put our wall back in. And you notice one of the problems I did is I didn't put one of the doors facing the opposite direction. You actually want to do that because it actually makes the door open differently, which is kind of nice. Like that. There you go. Alright, so now we'll put these shower pillars in here like so. And even though they're not put down yet, we can do that now. There you go, just get all the piping in here. Now, of course, as you might guess, putting the large pipe anywhere near this wall is going to cause problems, unfortunately. So what we might want to do, still do it anyway, and do something like that. And maybe just like this. Like, we have more than enough shower heads. But, I mean, you can always add a few more. So yeah, now we have a shower. One other thing we might want to put in is some drains though. There you go. Okay, and call this the shower. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to call that a stopping point there, but I'm just going to keep like recording this in one big bulk, but I do want to actually say look forward to the next episode, because I'm kind of making a little tiny series, just kind of a show off what all I'm going to do. Like I might do some stuff off screen here, just to kind of play around a little bit, like build some more stuff and then show you what I come up with whenever that happens. If we run out of money, that's going to be interesting, because that can happen. You know, there we go. Because if we run out of money, the issue we will run into is I'll have to just be sitting still. Now, you guys won't witness that, thankfully, because I'll edit it all out. But it is something funny that can happen. But I'll see you guys in the next episode. Look forward to it if you are looking forward to it. If this isn't your cup of tea, if you made it this far and you're kind of like, this might be kind of boring, I'm sorry. I hope you find something else of mine more entertaining later. And I will talk to you guys then. Till then, everyone. Bye.